All right, guys. This is Ty Zen, and I'm broadcasting from Dallas, Texas today. Before I get started, guys, if you guys can just leave in the chat box and let me know if you guys hear me or not, and what city or country you guys are from. That way I'll know that you guys can hear me. The audio is good before I get started, guys. Okay, so Alexander says that he can hear me from Bulgaria, and I don't know what A is, but he says he can hear me 5-5. Okay, guys. So in front of me, guys, I got 5 pointers that I'm going to talk about, discuss, guys, about the 5 reasons why the world desperately needs Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, guys. And I got with me today my good friend, the doctor. Say hello, doctor.
Good day, all.
All right. He does not want to be on camera, so he'll just be behind the scenes. And he and I are just going to have a discussion. We were talking about why the price of Bitcoin has shot up overnight from $570 to over $610 already in the last 24 hours. So, and the doctor asked me what my thoughts were if Bitcoin's going to go up to $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, or if it's going to ever go away. And so as I was explaining to him, I decided, well, let me just broadcast my response so that you guys can get the message too. Okay, so guys, join me this morning just for a casual conversation here, guys, about what my thoughts are about Bitcoin and why, and cryptocurrencies in general, and why I believe that it will not go away and it will continue to go up. Okay, so 600 is probably just a low price point, guys. All right. Okay, so just to start off, guys, I have been investing into cryptocurrencies since the end of 2012, the beginning of 2013, and I have not cashed out any Bitcoins that I have made, okay, because I see no reason to, because I have a firm belief that it will continue to go up higher. And here's 5 reasons that I wrote down why I believe it's going to go higher, and not just Bitcoin, but most of the good cryptocurrencies, okay? So you were asking me earlier about why you don't think that it'll go away, why I don't believe it'll go away, and here's the reasons. This is the #1 reason that I believe that Bitcoin will not go away, and neither will cryptocurrencies, okay? And that is in the area of clearing and settlement. Now, in case you guys are new to trading in the world of the stock market and what trading and settlement means, what that means is that, let's say that if I buy some shares of stock from the doctor here, let's say if he owns Apple stocks and I want to buy those, if I go to Scottrade or E-Trade or Fidelity or Charles Schwab, and let's say that he wants to sell those 100 shares of Apple stocks and I want to buy 100 shares of it, okay? What's going to happen is there's what's called a T3, T plus 3. That means that from the time that the transaction occurs where I buy it from you, you sell it to me, it takes 3 days for it to settle before I can get the actual stock certificates from you, right? It takes like 3 days to settle. And the profits that I made, whether I made profit or lost money on it, there's like a 3-day waiting period before I can actually withdraw that money from the broker. I can reuse it. Let's say that I bought it or sold it and I made money from it. I can reuse the profits as long as I don't take the money out of the broker's office. But if the minute I take I request to withdraw the funds, there's a 3-day waiting period minimum. And once I withdraw that from the broker, you know, we can interact before I can withdraw it from the broker. There's a waiting period of 3 days. So it's T plus 3 is what they call it on Wall Street. And what that means is that I have to wait for 3 days before they can clear the transaction. Well, clearing it means that they have confirmed that you do have those 100 shares, that you sent it to me, and that I have the money to pay for it. So the transaction is complete. It's been confirmed. Everything's legit. There's no fraud in there. And once that is cleared and settled, that's the process that's called, then it gets sent to the bank. Then I can ask the broker to send the money to my bank. And then from that time, there's like another 1 to 3 days before it gets cleared at the banks, before I can actually use that money to make a purchase of anything I want. So that T+3 at the broker's office and at the banks just kills everything. Now there's one company out there called DTCC, okay? And that the name of that company, and this is gonna get kind of maybe a little bit technical, guys, but this is the main reason that I'm holding on to it for the long term, okay? There's a company out there in New York, and it's called DTCC, and it stands for the Depository something Clearing place. Let me see here. Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. They're the only company in America that clears and settles all the stock transactions and all the transactions related on Wall Street. They're the biggest company. They have a monopoly on it, okay? And because of this T+3, there's a lot of companies and a lot of brokerages and a lot of trading firms and a lot of investment firms that in order for them to make money, they have, once they make the money, they can't do nothing with that money until like 3 days later. So you can see where the hurdle or the roadblock is, right? Yes. Okay, so that is the #1 reason that I believe that Bitcoin will not ever go away. It can only get better and better and increase in value because of that clearing and settlement. Now, if you're not on Wall Street, you don't realize that this waiting period costs everybody billions and billions and billions of dollars for that 3-day waiting period. Now, it doesn't mean that it takes 3 days. They have up to 3 days. And then there's some shady companies out there that they can clear it for you right away. And what they do is they delay it for 1 day because they have very hyperactive traders in their offices that they'll use your money and they'll trade it. And then they'll make money from it. And then they have a day, 24-hour to, like if you trade currencies or futures market, it's open 24 hours. So they can trade that for 1 or 2 days, 24, 48, 72 hours before they transfer the money to you.
So it's a racket. Yeah,
it's a racket. And everybody knows that. Everybody that trades knows that. That's an active trader knows that it's a huge, big racket.
Joe on the street.
No. The average public person on the street does not know that. So I would say that probably 98, 99% of my viewers do not know that it takes that long to settle a transaction in the stock market. So because of that, this is the first time I heard about Bitcoin. I didn't look at it like some people say that, hey, it's going to take over the fiat world. It's going to replace the US dollar, the euro, or the pound. To me, that's just a bunch of bullshit. Can you silence your phone? So that's the biggest thing is that the settlement. When I was working at the energy brokerage firm in Dallas, and I first read the white paper about the settlement and the clearing times, most Bitcoin transactions can clear in less than 10 minutes, right? Even if we give it an hour to clear, it's still faster than 3 days, okay? And once they fix the scaling issue, where they scale Bitcoin up to higher transaction speeds, then it's almost instant, okay? So because of that, that is the #1 reason, is because of the clearing and the settlement speed and how much money it saves. When people talk about the Bitcoin miners are spending millions of dollars each year on electricity, that is nothing. That to Wall Street, that is such a small payment.
A bump on a turkey's butt.
Yeah, it's not even, they don't even notice that for to clear and settle all the stock transactions and all the financial transactions on Wall Street that fast in an hour or less. The cost of electricity is nothing to them, okay? That they don't even notice that. If you bring that up to them, they'll just laugh at that. They're like, we can settle our stock transactions in less than an hour, and you're complaining and bitching and whining about how much electricity all the miners use to process all these transactions. And in real time, the SEC and all the law enforcement agencies can monitor it and audit it, so that the Wall Street companies don't have to pay that money to get it audited. It gets done. Everything is cleared by the network, the Bitcoin network. To them, that saves billions of dollars. Why would they not do it? They would. You will never find anybody on Wall Street, anybody that's a real trader, a real investor, or somebody that has experience on Wall Street. You will never find any of them ever complain about the Bitcoin's proof of work and how much electricity it costs to secure the network and to settle all the transactions, because it is so tiny compared to what they currently pay right now to settle all the stock transactions, that if you tell someone on Wall Street that it costs millions of dollars to mine and process all these Bitcoin transactions, they'll laugh at you. Because the credit default swap market, all these different markets, and the stock market, the futures market, the currency, all these financial transactions that are being bought and sold every day on Wall Street, it costs billions of dollars to settle it every year. Okay.
How will the Bitcoin platform fit into that?
Well, they can use the Bitcoin, and that's a good question, because right now, and you guys don't hear me mention this too much, guys, because I don't like to get too technical, but this is just a fun-filled fact session. It's not going to be anything that makes you money. It's more for if you're looking to hold Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies long-term. This would just reinforce it. That's all it would do. So last year, in around the spring of this year, there was a company called Axoni. That's AXONI. Okay, Axoni, and they collaborated with that company in New York, right? The Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. I'll just call it DTCC, the monopoly. Okay, they cooperated with them and with several banks, including Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Citi, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan. And I'm giving you all this information. I'll leave it in the links below, guys. This is all that's on their website. They acknowledge that the Bitcoin blockchain is going to revolutionize their clearing and settlement. Now, they have the monopoly on it. So why do you think that if they have the monopoly on clearing and settlement on Wall Street, why would they let that go and use the blockchain? Because it's the newest technology. It's the newest technology, and it saves them so much money. I mean, that will cut their expenses probably by 80–90% just going to the blockchain. So because of that, they've hired this. They know that. So because of that, they've hired this company called Axoni in New York. It's like a 12-man team or something like that to develop a blockchain, a private blockchain based on the Bitcoin blockchain. They develop a private blockchain just so they can do all their clearing and settlement testing. And it has been successful. They tested it. It's been very successful. I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can read it, okay? And this is what's important right here, is that now that it has been done and it's been proven that they can clear these transactions very quickly and very efficiently, it saves them so much money on the cost to clear it and the cost to audit it and the cost for the SEC and everybody else to come in and review it to make sure it's accurate. Okay, so that just saves billions of dollars right there.
Well, does it hurt this company that has a monopoly in the end?
No, it doesn't hurt the company, because since they have a monopoly, they can continue the monopoly by having all these better technology to clear and settle the Wall Street transactions. And by doing that, everybody's going to continue to come to them. So they don't want that monopoly. They don't want to let go of that monopoly, because if they let somebody else do it, then and they can do it faster, then what's going to happen is everybody's going to go to them.
Right.
Okay.
That stops the racket, though.
Yeah, but it also does this, right? There's several companies out there competing to do this, so they're not the only ones.
Right.
Yeah. So the monopoly, the DTCC monopoly, they know that this is a huge technology, and nobody talks about this in the media, because most of the people that talk about cryptocurrencies, they're not active traders like myself. They're not actively trading in the markets. You know, I've made, I don't know, in my lifetime, I've probably made over, I don't know, several thousand stock trades already, and I did it during the crash. I started trading in March of 2008, So I traded through the biggest stock market crash. I saw what happens when transactions don't clear. I traded before they changed all these laws and these regulations and things like that. So because of that, this is the #1 issue that no one ever talks about, and this is what is going to make the blockchain and cryptocurrencies widely spread in use. This is the #1 key that's going to get adoption. People talk about the decentralized social media like Steam and like Akasha and Scenario. To me, that's all a bunch of it's just like that's just like side stuff, like little gimmicks. Okay, yeah, they'll work, but what Bitcoin, the reason that Bitcoin is going to succeed is because there's a desperate need. There's a desperate need for this. Yeah, on Wall Street for this, in the business world, in the financial world, you got all these libertarians and things like that talk about, you know, freedom. They talk about like Monero and Dash and Zcash and all these, you know, that are anonymous money and stuff. Nobody cares about that. There are the libertarians and, you know, people that want to buy drugs and they want to buy personal stuff. They want to keep it private. There's nothing wrong with that. But that is not going to get widespread public adoption of cryptocurrencies. You know, that's why you don't ever hear me talk about those things about, oh, you know, this is going to take over the world. You know, people are going to be anonymous and, you know, all this stupid nonsense. The thing that to me that has got me to hold on to Bitcoins for the long term is the clearing and the settlement. That is the #1. That trumps everything else. If we can just fix that problem, because it is desperately needed in the financial markets. Like they don't have a method to reliably clear and settle transactions quickly.
Well, let me ask you this.
And accurately and cheaply.
That's something that's immutable, like the blockchain.
Yeah.
Can't be screwed with.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this question. Where does Bitcoin itself fit into this?
They're doing it on the Bitcoin blockchain.
Okay, so
they're using the same technology, whether they call it Bitcoin or blockchain. Wall Street has gotten away from the term Bitcoin and everybody's using the term blockchain, but they're doing it on top of the Bitcoin network, right?
So they would have to use Bitcoin to do it?
Yeah, they have to use Bitcoins to do it.
How do you explain that?
Well,
how they will use Bitcoin
because they're going to use each Bitcoin transaction a piece of a Bitcoin, because a Bitcoin can be split up into 100 million pieces. So just like a dollar bill can be split up into 100 different smaller units called pennies, well, a Bitcoin can be split up into 100 million units called a Satoshi. So all they need is just one Satoshi to complete each stock transaction, right? And I don't want to get into the technical details about it, but
they will need to use.
Yeah, they will need to use the Bitcoin network, and there are other companies.
They'll pay for it in Bitcoin. Everything that goes on, every piece of information that goes on to the blockchain is paid for with Bitcoin. So they're going to have to hold Bitcoin in order to do that.
Yeah, and they don't need to get a lot of Bitcoins. They can get, I mean, each bank can just get one Bitcoin and split it up into 100 million units and use that. They don't have to get like 1 million Bitcoins to do it. They can just get one Bitcoin and do it.
How will that drive the price of Bitcoin up?
Well, that will drive the price of Bitcoin up is because every time you use it, people are going to trade it, right? Now, keep in mind that Bitcoin is not the only network and the only blockchain that they will do this on. They are also doing this on the Ethereum network also. And so there are several competing companies out there. And then this is something that no one ever talks about, because most of the people that get into trading and invest into cryptocurrencies, they're not aware of how Wall Street operates, right? They think you're not going to go in there. I mean, look at how strong Janet Yellen is. I mean, we have the ability, the US has ability to send an entire army to another country and take it over. If they don't agree, it's like in the Middle East, all this stuff right now where they don't want to use the US dollar to pay for oil and stuff, they'll just come in and just take over the whole country. I mean, they have that powerful. So when a country like the US is that powerful and the US central banks is that strong, I mean, that's just, to me, that's kind of retarded to think that a cryptocurrency is going to replace that. Cryptocurrencies, the whole entire Bitcoin community and the entire cryptocurrency community does not have enough guns and ammunition to back them up like the US dollar does. The US dollar has a $1 trillion army that is willing to stand behind it and make people use it. Okay, so the idea that a cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, anything that is going to replace the US dollar anytime in our lifetime, that ain't gonna happen. Okay, people, some of the libertarians and some of the people out there that are wishful thinking, they want to believe that. Okay, but until you have a nuclear submarine or an aircraft carrier, you know, carrying warheads on there, Tomahawk missiles on there to back up your Bitcoin, I'm gonna still believe that the U.S. dollar is still the strongest currency in the world. Okay,
well, let me ask you this one question so that I understand, Brett.
Yeah.
They go to that system. They go to the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
They need the Bitcoin to operate that blockchain.
Yeah.
Each transaction.
Yeah.
How if we're holding Bitcoin, how does that drive the value of Bitcoin up?
Because it drives it up because the price, because it's mainstream. So now there are some people out there right now, they want to invest in cryptocurrencies. You invested in cryptocurrencies because we're good friends and I told you to. And you trusted me because you know I'm a trader, so you got into it. But there are people out there right now that will not do it, right? Because they don't have trust in it. There's like pension funds, there's like teachers' retirement union accounts, pensions, there's like firemen's pensions, there's police pensions, and there's government worker pensions will not touch cryptocurrencies. They will not include Bitcoin in their portfolio because, I mean, that's crazy. But if Wall Street, if they see Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, and you know all these other companies, you know, using Bitcoin, right, then they will be more comfortable. And then when all these pension funds and people like that come in, they don't invest $100 or $200 or $1,000 like you and I do. They invest millions of dollars and even billions of dollars whenever they want to invest in something. And in order for them to do that, that will drive the price up because there's a limited amount of Bitcoins. And if everybody wants that in their portfolio, in their pension fund, you know, you got all these truckers unions, you got the plumbers unions, you got the electricians unions, teachers, nurses unions, and all these things like that. That's gonna, if they want to include, if one of those unions, like on CoinDesk yesterday, they announced that one of the biggest pension funds in California is considering including cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin like that, something like that, into their pension fund. And I don't see that happening in the next 1 or 2 years, but I can see that happening, right? And it only takes one pension fund to start accumulating Bitcoins for their clients, and a hedge fund to do that, and it's going to jack up the price, you know.
And in other words, when they see a actual user like Wall Street
using
these Bitcoins, they say, well, if they're going to be using this, obviously we better buy some because they'll be using it and the value will go up.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
Okay, so that's what's going to cause the value to go up. Now, I also want to mention this, and I'll link these in the article in the description box, guys. Okay, but there's Axoni is not the only company that is developing this clearing and settlement technology on top of the blockchain. Okay, there's a few others, right? There's R3 CEV. There's Digital Asset Holdings. And there's another company by Patrick Burns, the owner of Overstock.com, called TO. I guess that's how you pronounce it, okay? But these are all competing companies to try to be the first company to successfully settle and clear stock transactions and financial transactions on top of the Bitcoin network, either on top of the Bitcoin's public network or to take the public network, make a copy of it, and do it privately, internally among the banks themselves. Now, my prediction is this, is that if they try to do it privately, they're going to get hacked immediately. Immediately, they're going to get hacked. There are hackers out there right now waiting for these banks to release their public blockchain, their private blockchain, and as soon as it gets released so that all the banks can use it, it will get hacked immediately, I guarantee you. That to me is a guarantee. The reason why is because it has not survived long enough out in the wild. So as much as they want to make a private blockchain, they don't have a choice. They got to use the Bitcoin blockchain. They got to use the Bitcoin network because, the most established. It's been out in the wild. You know, it's been used. It's been hacked every day for the last 9 years, and it still hasn't been broken. It would be very dangerous to their company and to their network if they don't use the Bitcoin public blockchain. If they try to duplicate that and make it private, there will be hackers that come in there and just hack it to death. And they will lose so much money that they will regret doing that. Now, the reason why they want to make it private is not because of security reasons, it's because they want control of the blockchain. They want control of the network. Like if DTCC builds a network to settle transactions fast, they want that to have the, they want the monopoly on it. They want control of it. If they do it on the Bitcoin blockchain, then they're subjected to the whim of the cryptocurrency community. So you see, so for security, they need to do it on the public Bitcoin blockchain, but for control, they need to do it privately. However, if they do it privately, they're going to lose the security that they're looking for. Okay.
Are any of these companies attempting to do this? Are they part of the cryptocurrency market yet, or not?
No, these are companies. These are private companies. They're not. You cannot get into their crowd sale or anything like that.
Right.
They don't have ICOs. I don't know why they don't. Because if Axoni had an ICO, I would invest in that immediately in a heartbeat, because I know how important that is to Wall Street to clear and settle all these transactions. Okay.
So if any of these companies ever do have ICOs, you will advise us immediately, right?
Oh yeah. If Axoni or R3Sev or Digital Asset Holdings or TO by Patrick, if any of these companies come out and they want to do a crowdfunding and raise money, I would tell everybody to invest into it. So the second reason, that's the first reason, is clearing and settlement. The second reason that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will succeed, and I'm bullish on that, because the market desperately needs a reliable record-keeping system. The market, not me, but the market. And when I say the market, that means the world desperately needs a reliable. Yeah, the economy needs a reliable record-keeping system that cannot be altered and cannot be changed on a whim. Okay, so for example,
is that why Factom is becoming popular? Because
Factom is
their platform is very good for record keeping.
Yeah, they are the only cryptocurrency platform or blockchain right now that actually has clients that are paying them to record data into the Bitcoin blockchain.
Who are these clients?
They're Chinese land clients, property clients. They're working on different clients. And let me give you some examples. Like I use this as an example, guys, over and over, right? When you go to, like, when my kids were born, I went down to I live in the city of Dallas, and I went down to the Dallas County Courthouse to get a copy of my kid's birth certificate. Now, the hospital they were born in, it was at Baylor Hospital, but they were not, they could not issue the birth certificate. So you have to go down to the county courthouse to get the birth certificate. So I went down to the county, and they charged me $25 per birth certificate. So I have 2 kids, so they charged me $25, and they literally just printed out, and they put a stamp on it that it was, that this is official document from the county courthouse, right? And there it is. Now, let me tell you this. Who is more qualified to say that my kids were born on this day and this time? The courthouse or the hospital where they actually delivered the kids?
Certainly the hospital.
Yeah, everybody agrees that the hospital is more qualified to determine the time, date, and birth and weight, male or female, all the necessary information regarding my kid's birth. But they are not authorized to issue that. So with Factom, if the hospital decides to use Factom, they can actually record my kid's birth into the Bitcoin blockchain or any blockchain. And once that gets recorded, that can never be changed. And the way that they would make it official is, for example, they would just get 1 Bitcoin for each hospital. And then every time a child is born, they can record all the data into a fraction of that Bitcoin on 1 Satoshi. They can compress it. They can hash it and then send that hash. Basically, they can compress that data and then put it into the blockchain. I don't want to get into the hash functions and stuff. It just confuse everyone. But
that sounds too good.
Yeah, so they can do that, right? And check this out. For the rest of my life and my kids' life, if any time that they want to verify that they were born at this date and time at this hospital in this city in this county, all they have to do is point the school or the military or the job, the company they work for, whatever it is, to that point in time in the Bitcoin blockchain, and it's authentic. because that Bitcoin, that fraction of the Bitcoin was sent from Baylor Hospital. And they can authenticate on their website that, hey, you know what? We are the only ones that are authorized to record this into the blockchain. So we know that that is a legitimate record. That the Dallas County does not have to do that. The hospital can do that. Or we can go the other way and do like they do now, where they can send the data, my kid's birth data, to the county courthouse, and the county courthouse or the county clerk can take that data and factomize it, use a factum technology, and record it into it. And it's like a penny or something like that. It's just so cheap. Why wouldn't they do it, right? So because of that, the record keeping. Now, we also got to look at, when I took my kids to the to get their vaccines, right? There are certain vaccines I just disagree with. I'm not going to let them shoot these viruses into my kids when they are just born. And that's just my personal belief. That doesn't mean everybody has to do that. But because of that, when they go to school, they have to verify that certain vaccines, they receive certain vaccines to go to school, right? So I can point them back into the blockchain. If they factomize, factomize means that they took the data, the medical record or whatever record that we want to keep and not change it and make sure that it never gets changed. We take that record and we put it, insert it into the blockchain. That process is called factomize, okay? So when you factomize the data into the blockchain, whether it's my kid's birth, whether the vaccine records, whatever, their social security, everything, it gets in there and it can never be changed. And to me, that is so, you know, valuable, right? So like during the real estate crash of 2008, they had a lot of issues because people were buying homes and they didn't have enough money to buy these big properties. They can only afford a $200,000 home, and the banks were loaning them money to buy a $500,000 home. And when the real estate market crashed, people went to foreclosures, they lost their homes and everything. And like Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, and all these people, they didn't have records of who owned the homes because the loan was sold off to other people, And if they factomize all that real estate data, then now they can go back to it, and it's still there in the Bitcoin blockchain. So record keeping is the #2 reason that I believe that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will not go away, because that is so critical. I mean, and when I say critical, the market desperately needs this technology to solve this problem. And the best technology to solve this problem right now is Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies.
Right. So they will buy cryptocurrencies in order to get into the blockchain to do that.
Yeah. So
then people, as you said, people that are doing big investments will see the value in that aspect of Bitcoin, will put it into their portfolio, start driving the price up of it, because there's only a certain amount. So they'll see the benefits. And
you got to look at the network, right? The Bitcoin network is like a highway, like an interstate highway. So for example, we live in Dallas right now. They just, they're constructing the Highway 121 in North Dallas. And 10 years ago, there was hardly any businesses along the highway. But as soon as the city of Dallas built that highway to expand the city further north, what happened? Businesses, malls, shopping centers started building around, next to that highway. And what happened to all the residential property in that area?
Blew up.
Yeah. So like my house, it increased in value by $80,000 to $100,000 because I happen to live down the street from where Toyota is going to build a North American headquarters like 2 or 3 exits down from me. So because of that, everybody's houses here went up by $80,000 to $100,000 in my neighborhood. Why? Because every time somebody builds something on top of that highway or near that highway that adds value to the community, then everybody's property and everything goes up. So it's the same thing on the Bitcoin blockchain. When Factom inserts data in there from land records, birth records, vaccine records, school records, graduation diplomas, social security information, anything that they factomize into the Bitcoin blockchain, what they're essentially doing is they're putting value along the Bitcoin highway network. So that's going to increase the overall value of the network, just like the real highways work in the city of Dallas or in any city.
Right.
So that's the second reason. The third reason, okay, let me just pause right there. Do you guys have any questions so far, guys, over the first 2 reasons, over the clearing and settlement or the record keeping? Okay, I don't see any questions in here. Anyone jump in on the block pay ICO? Yeah, me and all my friends did. Okay, so no questions on the record keeping. Okay, or the settlement. Okay, so here's the third reason why the world desperately needs Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, guys. The third reason is remittance. Now, remittance is a fancy Wall Street term that means that when people, immigrants and refugees that come into the U.S., they send money back to their families. Okay, so I'll use Mexicans as an example because that's probably one of the biggest remitters in America. Okay, so when we have Mexican people coming from the country of Mexico because they border the southern part of United States, right? They come over to the U.S. They do a lot of manual labor. They make some money, and $100 is not very much in the U.S. That gets you like 10 meals. But that same $100 in U.S. dollars, when it gets sent back to Mexico, that can provide someone's living for a month, enough food for them for a whole month. Okay, so because of that, we have a lot of Mexican people that come into the U.S. and they'll work and they'll send money back. However, the cost to send that money back to their family and friends back in Mexico is like a 10 to 15%. So there's only two services that do that right now. One is Western Union and one is MoneyGram, and then also the regular banks. Okay, so because of that, the cost, that 10% to 15% cost to send money back to your country, that process is called remittance. Okay, and that's called the remittance market. And what that does is that if all those people, even 1% or 2% or even 5% of those people start using Bitcoins or cryptocurrencies to send money back to their country, right? That right there is a huge game changer. That right there is a problem that desperately needs a real world solution. And the only solution that they have right now is with Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies. There's no other solution that is lower cost, that's cheaper, that's more reliable. Right now, if you send something by Western Union, you have to wait for a while before it gets confirmed on the other end that your family received it, right? Right now, the day that comes, and then this is where it'll hit big, is when vendors and grocery stores, telephone companies, cable companies, when they start accepting Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies as payment, at that point, there's no need to convert the Bitcoins into the Mexican peso or into the native currency of that country. At that point, that's when the remittance market, that's when I believe that companies like Western Union and MoneyGram, they will go out of business. Because right now, people are still using it, not because they don't know about Bitcoins. They're still using Western Union and MoneyGram Western Union and MoneyGram simply because when it goes over there, it's easy to convert that into the Mexican peso. Whereas if they use Bitcoins, it's not so easy to convert to the Mexican peso.
Not yet.
Not yet. But
there are some Bitcoin exchanges in Mexico.
Yeah, they have some Bitcoin exchanges there. But right now, people can, like in Europe, people use different currencies all the time. So they convert US dollars to euros, euros to pounds, pounds to yen. That's very common. But when you live in the US, most people have never used, the majority of the American people have never used another currency outside of the US dollar. So for them, it's very foreign to them to use any other currency. Like if you show an American the euro or the yen or the pound, they don't even know what it is. Like I'll use myself as an example. I traded millions of dollars worth of the euro in my Forex account, in my currency account. And the first time that I saw I traded currencies for about, I think, 5-6 years before I saw the first euro note. And when I saw it, I didn't even know that it was a euro currency. I thought it was just monopoly. Like you could have left it on the table, yeah, and I would not have even took it or done anything with it because I didn't know that it was a real currency, even though I've been trading millions of dollars worth of the euro in the Forex market. Okay, so Americans, because the US dollar is so strong in America, we don't know any other currency. Like we hear it on the news and everything, but to actually use it and understand what another currency is, it's a foreign language or foreign to Americans.
So so in the States, this getting used to another currency would most likely have it
It's not going to happen in America.
In the remittance.
Yeah.
It'll happen in America in terms of remittance.
Yeah.
That's where it'll start.
Yeah. So it will start in America through the remittance market, like when like the Mexican people realize that, hey, you know what, you can pay for stuff with Bitcoins, right?
Yeah.
Then they'll start using it. When you don't have to convert, when you don't have to convert the Bitcoins to the country's native currency, such as like in Mexico, if you don't have to convert Bitcoins to a peso in order to use it, or to a US dollar in order to use it, people would just accept the Bitcoins at the grocery stores and to pay for bills and stuff. That's when the remittance market will explode. And it's going to happen outside the US. That's not going to happen inside the US, because American people don't know anything outside the US dollar. Not because they're dumb or they're stupid. It's just because they never had to. So when you don't have to do something, you don't know about it.
I mean, there are places in the States though that will take Bitcoin.
Yeah, like I'm about to order my new laptop through Dell, and they accept Bitcoins. So I'm going to pay for it with Bitcoins. So I'm about to order the world's most powerful laptop to do all my trading and video editing and stuff for my businesses, right? So I'm gonna order through Dell, their Dell Precision mobile workstations. They're like extremely expensive laptops, right? And I plan on paying Bitcoins with that.
So I mean, it is beginning in the States where people are.
Yeah.
I mean, certain companies are accepting Bitcoin.
Yeah, and like whenever I buy silver, like my friends and I, we buy kilos of silver at a time when we do buy it, and we usually buy all that with Bitcoins.
So it's actually started in the States, but it's certainly not popular.
Okay, so so the remittance market is the remittance market is really big. Okay, so
but that won't mean there's an infrastructure where they'll have to know where to buy Bitcoin and to use Bitcoin on both ends.
Okay, so we have one of the audience viewers, Nako KM. I guess it's a girl because it has a profile of a girl's picture on it. But she says that it's already happening in the Philippines. So the Philippines is also another big remittance market, right? So like the Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, and then you got the island countries like the Philippines and like the Caribbean islands, and then we got South America and Mexico. Those are really hot markets for a hot remittance markets. And if one of those, starts to accept Bitcoins, if like what Nako is saying here is that if they start accepting where you can actually pay for your food and your bills with Bitcoins directly, then that's going to be a huge game changer. Like I buy all my.
If people on this end can buy Bitcoins to send, there has to be some system where they can purchase the Bitcoin and send the Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But that infrastructure is not set up.
Well, no, the infrastructure is there. It's just that it's not. The vendors don't accept Bitcoins over there. So because of that, people don't know why they need Bitcoins for. But as soon as the vendors start accepting Bitcoins, like for example, like when I go out, I pay for like probably about 90% of my Starbucks coffee. I pay for it with Bitcoins. I just use the coffee.fold app, and I just pay for all my coffee with that. So I've had people talk about, they make fun of me about using Bitcoins. Who accepts Bitcoin? And they don't realize the coffee I just bought them was paid for with Bitcoins. So that always cracks. I do that on purpose because it cracks me up when people say that, right? Crypto Giraffe asks a good question. He says that, do you regularly use Bitcoins to buy things, or only once in a while it is cheaper to pay in Bitcoins? No, I use it I use it whenever I need to. The reason why I'm buying my new Dell laptop with Bitcoins is because I don't see the need to convert the Bitcoins into US dollars, and I'm going to lose a spread there. Every time you convert one currency into another currency, you always lose a little bit of it during the conversion process. And if Dell is willing to accept Bitcoins for their laptop, then there's no need for me to lose that conversion rate. in order to switch it to US dollars and then go buy the laptop with it. I just buy it as it is. Now, the coffee, the Starbucks coffee that I buy with my Bitcoins, I use that because, I mean, if somebody's going to give me a 5 or 15% discount to buy their coffee, it doesn't seem much, but hey, if somebody's willing to give me a 5-10% discount, why not? I'm going to buy it anyway, so why not take the discount, right? And then it's also a good way for me to introduce people to Bitcoins too, because the first question that people around me always ask is, hey, who accepts a Bitcoin? And when I show them that Starbucks or Whole Foods accepts Bitcoin, through using the gift card or using these different debit cards, these Bitcoin debit cards, then it introduces them. It makes it easier, So Cryptopedia said he subscribed to the channel while listening to this. Well, welcome to our channel, Cryptopedia. Okay. Gross Bill asked me to talk about BlockPay. We'll talk about that in a separate video, guys. But in this video, I just want to talk about the 5 reasons why the world desperately needs Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. All right. So that's the 3rd reason. Okay. The 4th reason is access to the trading world. This is a desperate problem that needs to be solved. Right now, the only people that are allowed to trade in the world are people that live in first world countries. It's unfortunate, but the only people that are allowed to trade in the financial markets on Wall Street to buy and sell stocks are people that live in first world countries, and the people that are in third world countries, they're not allowed to trade in the American stock market. And that's the biggest and most lucrative stock market. It's the most regulated too. So out of all the stock markets in the world, in my opinion, it's the safest one. Like people talk about other, the Russian stock market, the Vietnamese stock market, the Chinese stock market. Yeah, they may be good and everything, but they are not as safe as the American stock market. No matter what anybody says, in my opinion, through all my trading experience and everything, the American stock market is still the safest and the best stock market to put your money in. Okay. Now the problem with that though is that if you don't live in the U.S. or a first world country, you are not allowed to buy and sell stocks in the American stock market. So somebody in my country, in Vietnam, they cannot just open up an account with $100,000 or even with $10,000 and start buying and selling American stocks, because they have capital controls. The Vietnamese communist government controls the money over there, and they won't allow you to send money to an American brokerage firm to buy and sell stocks. You got to get permission from the Vietnamese government. Cuba, Iran, Iraq, all these, Russia, China, all these, North Korea, these countries are all the same. None of them will let their citizens buy and sell and invest in the American companies because of that. Now, the only market that is that I wouldn't say easily, but that are accessible to everybody in the world is the Forex market, the currency market, okay? When Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies comes along, it's the first time that people, it doesn't matter your age, your sex, your gender, your ethnicity, your religious beliefs, everyone can trade cryptocurrencies now.
The little guys.
The little guys on Main Street. Before, it was only the guys that...
And these are the little guys that can make money.
Yeah, and these are the guys that need the money, yes, right? Yes. So you got some people in Africa or in China and Russia that's living in a poor country or something. If they have $100 or even $10, they should have the ability to invest and trade in the financial world just like everybody else. But because of the laws in their country and because of the laws on Wall Street, they're not allowed to do that. So cryptocurrencies have leveled the playing field for everyone. So now, if you are willing to take the risk,
we'll talk about the redistribution of wealth.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it without having the government do it.
Yeah. So I've read on forums where people from third world countries have made $100, $1,000, $10,000 from trading in cryptocurrencies. Yeah, God bless them, because without cryptocurrencies, they would have never had that opportunity. So cryptocurrencies gives access to the trading world, and if a country does not have access to the trading world, they cannot grow. That's one thing that
it's obvious, because they need wealth, right?
Yeah.
So if the governments are sucking off these third world governments are sucking off all this wealth and it's not trickling down to the people, then the people, if they're allowed to trade and get into this market and get their own wealth, then that country can grow.
So that's the fourth reason, right? And that also segues us into the fifth reason why I believe that cryptocurrencies is desperately needed in the world, and that is, in addition to the trading and investment, the fifth reason is allowing you to become a Main Street venture capitalist, or what LeonFu.com and I call the Main Street VC. And that's why our program,
which is why where you're dragging me to.
So for the first time in human history, it's the first time that the small players, the small time people like you and I that live on Main Street, we get to do the exact same thing that the people on Wall Street get to do, except we don't have to be licensed, we don't have to be a professional, we just have to be educated. Exactly, and we don't have to use them or pay them or go through them on Wall Street. It's the first time in human history, because that's why the cryptocurrency investing program that LeonFu.com and I created, we call it the Main Street VC. Because it's the first time that a person has the opportunity on Main Street to invest like a Wall Street venture capitalist. It's the first time that we've had that opportunity, because nowhere else, in most countries, you don't have the money to do it. And in the US, even if you do have the money, you may not have enough. So for example, like LeonFu.com and I, we know several friends that invest into the stock market, the currency market, the futures market, the cryptocurrency market, but there's only one of us that is an accredited investor. And in the US, in order for you to invest in new companies, right, you have to be for example, like Factum Incorporated is a company that builds the open source software called Factum. In order for you, they're raising money to grow their company. And the only people that can invest into it is if you are an accredited investor. And in the US, an accredited investor is someone that has $1 million net worth, and they have to make over $200,000 a year for 2 consecutive years. So if you don't have $1 million net worth and you make $200,000 a year for 2 years in a row, you cannot invest into Factum, right? You cannot participate when they're trying to raise money to grow their company. You cannot participate in that because Wall Street does not recognize you as an accredited investor, right? Yes. So now in cryptocurrencies, it's the first time in human history that you get to invest like a Wall Street venture capitalist, except you're on Main Street.
Just the best.
It's just the best, and you don't have to be licensed. You don't have to.
If you could put it into an IV and hook yourself up 24/7.
So
that's that good.
Okay, so that's, and not only that, not only can you invest into it, right? But the people who want to raise money, like we got like the Chinese people the Chinese people in China, they're raising money right now for Ant shares. We got the people in Europe raising money for the Decent platform, and then we got guys that just raised money for the Stratus platform, the Waves platform, the List platform. You got all these different people from around the world. It's the first time in human history that the people like us on Main Street can invest into these different companies and these different projects, and that you don't have to be accredited, you don't have to be certified by Wall Street. If you have the Bitcoins to send them, you send them a fraction of it, and you own that portion of it, that percentage of it.
It's funny. It reminds me. I first experienced how many of the little guys are in this when I went to Poloniex and I saw the troll box.
Yeah.
I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of people that are involved, everyday people. I said, wow, this works.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. So those are the 5 main reasons that I believe the world desperately needs Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, guys. We'll take a few questions and we'll wrap it up, guys. Right? Let me see. What questions do we have here? This is a good question from Gergis G. He asked, do you think Western Union and others might adapt or drift off like Blockbuster? Okay, so it just depends upon how arrogant they are. There are some companies like Blockbuster who think that they will never get taken over. They're at the top of the mountain and they're top of the food chain, and they think that no one's ever going to come get them. And look what happened to Blockbuster now. Nobody even knows what it is anymore. Okay, so if MoneyGram and Western Union, if they understand and they recognize and they're able to see dry land through muddy waters and see that their business is being threatened by Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and they need to do something about it, if they adapt, then they'll survive. But if they don't adapt, now I know that PayPal, one of the money remitters, they have adapted because they've partnered up with Coinbase to start buying and selling Bitcoins using PayPal. So that we can see that PayPal is adapting to that, but there's no indications from, that I have not seen any indications from Western Union or MoneyGram to indicate that they are adapting to the new cryptocurrency movement, okay? Rhonda Holly says Western Union is a middleman. They are not needed if Bitcoin is adopted. I agree, and that's the key here is not whether or not Western Union is involved. The key is whether vendors, like people who sell groceries, that sell phone services, cable services, if just the everyday people are willing to accept Bitcoin, then there's no need for Western Union and MoneyGram anymore, okay? Crypto Giraffe asks, how is trading crypto different than trading Forex? Is there different rules for margin accounts? Yes, trading cryptocurrencies versus trading Forex it's like night and day. First of all, when you trade currencies, when you trade the Forex market, there's a lot of manipulation going on with the banks, right? They can purposely move the price up and down to shake people out. And I'm not saying that Poloniex or Bitfinex or Bitstamp and those other exchanges cannot do that. Obviously, they can do that. However, there's really no need to. I mean, they can, and there's no stopping them, and there's no way for the public to audit and see that they're not manipulating the price of it internally. Okay, there's no way to do that. But in the Forex market, it's very controlled by the banks, and they do it at their own will, and they do it almost every day, okay, especially around news announcements, okay? And the big thing about the cryptocurrency trading is that if you understand the fundamentals, if you understand how the news impacts that cryptocurrency, it actually benefits you, okay? If you hear some bullish news, the news actually affects the price in a bullish way. Whereas in the Forex market, you can get some good news and the currency go down, and then you can get some bad news and the currency go up. So there's no correlation to good news to the price going up and bad news to the price going down. Whereas in the cryptocurrency world, there is a direct correlation. If we hear, that the DAO attacker is going to dump his Ether classic coins, then the price is going to sell off. And if we believe that he's going to take those Ethers, the profits that he made, and put it into Ethereum hard fork, then the price is going to go up. So if you follow the cryptocurrency community well and you understand the news, then it actually helps you in your trading cryptocurrencies. Whereas in the Forex market, it does not help you at all, okay? Because there's no direct correlation to it. And that's like the main thing I've noticed, okay? Okay, Gross Bill asks, we're still in the early days of crypto. What do you think is going to happen in the next years? There's no telling. Nobody knows. Nobody has a crystal ball. But I do know this, that I believe that I'm very bullish on the overall cryptocurrency market. There might be some short-term pullbacks and dips like what it's going through yesterday and today. But overall, in the long term, I believe it's bullish, okay? And that's why I try to avoid shorting any cryptocurrency because that's very dangerous. Okay, so Buck Woods believes that by 2020, I think he thinks that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will go mainstream. Okay, that's awesome. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, I'm your top #1 fan. Ties in according to Gross Bill. Well, thanks, Gross Bill. Slopestyle 2022 asks, will Ethereum price ever pass Bitcoin? Right. I can see it happening, but not anytime soon because they have to. The problem with Ethereum hard fork and Ethereum Classic is this Slopestyle is that there's at the moment, okay, there's a lot of projects that are being built on top of the Ethereum network. However, there's not a real world use yet of Ethereum. Okay, there's not a real world. Like I can go buy a new laptop with Bitcoin. You cannot do that with the ethers yet. Okay, here is my gauge to determine if a cryptocurrency has a long-term that it has a chance of being the same price as Bitcoin. First, you got to be able to buy guns with that cryptocurrency. Okay, Bitcoin, you can buy guns and ammunition with it. So that makes it legitimate to me. Okay, you got to be able to buy gold and silver with it. You cannot do that with any cryptocurrency except for Bitcoin at the moment. Okay, they're the only ones I know that, all the places where I buy gold and silver at Provident Metals in Dallas, they only accept Bitcoins and nothing else. So when you can buy gold, real gold and silver with your cryptocurrency, that's when you have a chance of being like Bitcoin. The other thing too is buying food. If you can buy food with your cryptocurrency, then that's when it has a chance of being like Bitcoin. Okay, so if you cannot buy food, gold and silver, guns and ammunition. Oh, and the fourth one is drugs. If people are not willing to sell you some pot or some weed and accept your Bitcoins or your cryptocurrency, then to me it's not
viable.
It's not going to have a chance to get to the price that Bitcoin has. Okay, so to me, those are the 4 benchmarks or the 4 indicators that the cryptocurrency has a chance to be like Bitcoin. Okay, is that it can do one of those 4. Now, is Ethereum on track to do those things? The answer, in my opinion, is yes. It's on track to do that. Between Ethereum right now and Monero, which is right around the same price, they're right around the $10, $12 mark, right? You have to ask yourself, which one of those currencies can I buy drugs, I can buy food, I can buy gold and silver, and I can buy guns and ammunition with? And that should be the answer to which one you invest in, okay? So.
That was terrific.
You like that one?
That was the best.
Okay. All right. So when it has to pass those 4 hurdles first, Slopestyle, before it even has a chance. And I can say this, that if I had to pick off the top of my head the top 3 currencies that has a chance at becoming the next Bitcoin, it would definitely have to be both Ethereums, Ethereum hard fork, Ethereum Classic, and I just count that as one because they're both Ethereum. Okay, and then the second one would have to be Monero. That would be the next one. I cannot think of a third one at this moment. If I do, I'll let you guys know. But off the top of my head right now, I cannot think of a third one that is capable of doing that are close to doing those 4 reaching those 4 indicators, those 4 huge milestones. Okay. So let me see. Okay, Slopestyle is the stealth trader from Steemit. That's awesome. How can I start learning more about technical analysis? How did you learn? I paid a lot of money to go to school to learn it. So let me see. Like Microsoft. Robert Cunningham says that, Ty, for real, you are the best crypto YouTuber of all time. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. It's not just me. It's both myself and my buddy LeonFood.com. So I think that if it's just one of us, I think that we may not be as good, but I think the combination of both of us makes it, because he's more on the fundamental and technical side, the technology side, and I'm more on the trading and technical side. Okay. Okay, Slopestyle goes, couldn't you make your main Coinbase wallet your Ethereum wallet and use Ethereum to pay for stuff? The answer is yes. The only problem that I don't like about Coinbase is I switched away from using them as my as a wallet. One, I don't like somebody else having control of my wallet. I currently use the CoPay wallet. It's a multi-signature wallet that is made by BitPay in Atlanta, and I prefer that to use that better because I have control of the wallet. I do not like using the Bitcoin Core wallet, and me and my friends are all getting away from that. It takes too long to just download it. Okay, so that's why we use the CoPay wallet, and some of my friends that have iPhones, I use the Bread wallet, which is one of the easiest wallets to use. Okay, that's probably one of the best mobile wallets for the iPhone platform. Okay, and the other thing too is that Coinbase will censor your transactions. If they don't like what you're doing with your your Bitcoins, they will freeze your money, and I don't like that. Okay, so if I use like Bread wallet or CoPay, then there's no chance of them freezing my money. Let me see. What sources do you use to watch news from the crypto world? I'm going to make a separate video about that. I've been getting a lot of questions about that, and I'll make that. So, do you think cryptocurrencies are going to give more wealth to developing countries? I absolutely believe so. Absolutely. Okay. We have people in third world countries, guys, that are using, like, for example, like the Steemit platform, and it's the first time they've made $100 or $1,000 in their lifetime. And you may not think that it's a big deal in America or in a first world country, but imagine a country where you only make $5, $10 a month, and all of a sudden you wrote an article. Even if people think that Steemit is bogus or a scam or a Ponzi scheme, whatever it is, right? The fact is, if somebody out there, more than one person has done it, and it's verifiable, right? Then that's going to give it some. They're not going to quit after that happens, okay? Ethereum can be used with Visa Visa Shift. I'm not sure. I haven't used that yet. Slopestyle. Okay, Slopestyle says that he can use the Shift card at Walmart all the time. See, that's the thing. When LeonFood.com and I go to Walmart or to Whole Foods, which is an organic grocery store here in America, we have to convert our Bitcoins into either using the Shift card or using the gift card, GYFT, before we can buy stuff. I'd like to see it someday. Bitcoin will get more adoption the day that it can be used directly without a conversion. See, to go from Bitcoins to a Shift card or going from Bitcoin to a gift card, there's still a conversion process. And in America, people don't see why you should need to do that. That's why it hasn't get the adoption. Like when I buy my new laptop from Dell Computers, I just pay for it directly with Bitcoins. There's no conversion there. So that's why there's no friction there for me to use Bitcoins there. Okay. If globalists truly want control, UN will have control over the internet. So why should I invest in crypto a bit? I mean, I don't know. When people talk about the UN or whatever having control over us, they pretty much already do. So I don't see why it would be any different. I invest in cryptocurrencies, guys, because it's a way to make money. Okay. And for the 5 reasons, if you guys rewind this video and watch it, you'll see the 5 reasons why I believe that cryptocurrencies is not going to go away, because it's desperately needed. Okay. And even if it's not desperately needed, if it's a method to make money, I'm in. Okay. So I'm not allergic to money, guys. If there's an opportunity for me to make money legally and ethically, I'll do it. Okay. So there doesn't have to be a reason. The only reason is it makes money.
And that's a long way away. That's a long way away.
Yeah.
So you just got to jump in and get it done before that happens.
Yeah. The key to success when you're trading or investing in cryptocurrencies, guys, is being adaptable, being able to move swiftly. So even if the UN or whatever government agency decides to take control of us, you know, there's always going to be people that are going to still do what they want, you know. I'm going to still live my life the way I want it, regardless if they have control or not, okay? Keep an eye on Zcash, Ty. It's coming very soon. Yes, I am keeping an eye on Zcash. That's one of the things in my crosshairs. So let me see. Do you own a Trezor? Not yet. Leon has leonfood.com has several Trezors. I have a separate laptop specifically just for Bitcoin. I don't use it for anything else. So, could you recommend us a trading course, Alexander? Yes, I can recommend it. The course that leonfood.com and I are going to come out with is called the Main Street VC Method, and we are going to cover that in more detail. Right now, we are still planning it out to whether or not we do it live at like a hotel conference room, or should we do it on a webinar, and you know, how we deliver it. But most of the content for the Main Street VC method that we have developed has already been created. We've been spending a lot of time since the beginning of this year creating that Main Street VC method. This is probably actually the first time that I'm actually sharing with you guys what it's called and what it's about. But it's an 8-module training program, and we're looking at the different price points for it, and we're looking at whether or not to do it as a private in-person workshop, or to do it as a webinar, or what's the best way to do it. Keep in mind, guys, that leonfood.com and I have, you know, jobs and businesses that we have to run. So because of that, we don't always have the free time to do everything that we want to in cryptocurrency. In a perfect world, we would get to a point where we made enough money from the cryptocurrency investing that we can actually just focus on cryptocurrency investing and build up our channel and educate the public on cryptocurrencies, and, you know, travel around the country and just do that full time and just do that. But I will share with you guys some more information on the Main Street VC method. It's basically a blueprint on how to invest in cryptocurrencies and become profitable. Leonfood.com and I lost a lot of money, guys. We lost probably over, I would say that it's safe to say that we probably lost over about $500,000 to figure out how to invest in cryptocurrencies correctly. So we want to share that with the people who are serious about it, so that they can make some money from it too. We've made that back and more, so that's the good news. Okay. Let me see. I get paid in Bitcoins. Is that a good idea? Isaiah Mahmood. Well, that's up to you. Like if I get paid in Bitcoins, so I'll give you an example here, Isaiah. So once we release the Main Street VC method, you know, our blueprint on how to invest in cryptocurrencies, we are going to accept Bitcoins only. So that should give you an idea that once we determine the price points on it, it's going to be all paid for in cryptocurrencies. Probably either, for sure, it's going to be, we're going to accept Bitcoins, and then either Ether Classic or Ether Hard Fork, one of those. Okay. So it's up to you. Like leonfood.com and I, we plan on only accepting cryptocurrencies only because we're a cryptocurrency channel, and we believe in cryptocurrencies. So if we accept Bitcoin or Ether Fork, either Ether Hard Fork or Ether Classic, it means no difference to us. Okay. Slopestyle says I got the BitPay card, but couldn't add funds. I'm not familiar with that. Would you wait a little for the FUD to calm down on Monero to calm down to invest? I don't invest because of FUD. And for anyone that's new to cryptocurrency investing, FUD means fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So I invest in it because of the solution, the real world problem that Monero is trying to solve, and if they're able to do it or not with their technology. That's the reasons why I invest in the cryptocurrencies, guys, not because of somebody else says that it's a good idea or not, okay? I invest in it because I see that there's a real world problem, and the cryptocurrency is a technology that can potentially solve that problem, okay? So I looked at Monero this morning, and it was actually at a good buy point this morning. I haven't looked at it since then, so I don't know where it's at now. Technically, it was at from a technical trader perspective, it was at a good buy point this morning. I don't know where it's at right now, so I can't say. Can you make a video about tips and tricks on trading in this crypto market? Yeah, I've made, this is the 50th video, so go back to video number 1 and just go through it. I try to make my videos, guys, so it's evergreen, meaning that it's not just for one period only. You can watch it a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, so that it's still relevant, the content is still relevant. I try to avoid making videos where it's irrelevant. Like it's only good for, the content's only good for that week. Now, sometimes I do have to do that. Like for example, like I make the videos on the DAO attacker and stuff because it was relevant at that time. It was very critical that everybody understood what was going on. So I did make those, but after that, now that the DAO issue is no longer an issue, those videos are going to no longer be relevant. So I don't like wasting time making videos that are just a one-time hit. I prefer to make videos that are and create content that is evergreen, which means that a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, it's still relevant. Rick asked, do you think that Dash is just likely to go mainstream as Monero? Nobody knows. I mean, that's something that the market will have to dictate, you know. Let me see. Let me see. Can you? What do you think about economy? I don't know. There's a bunch of people tagging me on Twitter about economy, but just haven't had time to look into it. So I cannot say yay or nay, yes or no, good or bad about economy because I don't know about it. Nick Sal says, hey Ty, hello, what's up? Okay, gross bill, $1 for me is nothing, but for some countries it's just a lot. Thanks for answering my question. There's a BitPay Visa prepaid card I just ordered. Okay, love to hear how that works out. Robert says he's not allergic to money. I'm not allergic to money, guys. I'm not allergic to money at all. So if there's an opportunity, I'll do it. Why is someone for the second day permanently selling 1,000 Moneros per 2 seconds? Okay, I don't know how you're getting that data, but let's just say it's true. Let's just say it's true. Guys, there are a lot of people in there that are in this to make money. They're short-term traders. If they make, you know, 1 or 2 Bitcoins, if they make 5 or 10% on their money, they're happy with it, they dump it right away. So, I mean, there doesn't have to be a reason for it. I look at, when I'm trading something, guys, I look at the long-term potential. Does this technology, does this software solve a real-world problem? And if it does, then I tend to hold it for the long term, okay? The UN taking over the internet October 1st, I don't believe that for 1 minute. And the internet kill switch, I don't believe that for 1 minute either. The internet is too big right now for any one person or entity or organization to shut it down, okay? It's gone past the point, it's at the point of no return. You know, maybe back in 1993 when Al Gore invented the internet, that might have been a time to shut it down, but at this point in stage in the life of the internet, I don't see that ever happening. Okay, so I mean, you got different internet services out there like Open Garden that will connect computers, cell phones, and things like that. They have mesh net technologies that will connect computers and cell phones and internet devices. So I have no worries about the internet going down. Things like that don't make you money, so I don't waste time talking about it. Okay, so if you guys ask me about conspiracy theories, about the Illuminati, Rosicrucians, Hillary Clinton being part of the Rothschilds or anything like that. I don't waste any amount of time with any of that bullshit because it doesn't put money in my pocket, it doesn't pay the bills, and it doesn't put food in my kid's mouth, okay? So you rarely ever hear me talking about conspiracy theories or any of that stuff, guys. And whether it's true or not true, I really don't care because it doesn't make me money. I've never seen someone that knows about the Illuminati or anything like that make money. But I know guys like myself and other traders and investors who are willing to risk their money on new cryptocurrencies and make a ton of money, hundreds and thousands of % profit. I've never seen somebody make 100% profit off of knowing how to do a Rosicrucian handshake or Illuminati wave or whatever it is, okay? Hash Vibe says, hey, Tom from Dubai, and Bitcoin and crypto is supported and accepted by the government. Is that a good or bad thing? That's a good thing, guys. The more people that are reputable accept cryptocurrencies, the better it is. I don't care if it's a government. I don't care if it's a bank. I don't care if it's the central banks. That if the central banks came out with a cryptocurrency right now, okay, I would buy into it. I'd buy a ton of it because I know it'd go up like crazy, okay? If the government, if the state of Texas where I live comes out with a cryptocurrency, I would buy into it. Anybody that has a reputable name that is a recognized public figure or entity or organization, I will buy into it in a heartbeat. No questions asked. And I don't have to agree with their beliefs or anything. All I have to agree with is that there's an opportunity to make money there. Okay. Remember, I'm not allergic to money. Okay. So if there's an opportunity to make money, I'm not going to say no. Let me see. They're supposed to launch shadow market by end of 2016. I don't know what that is. I would figure you guys would be able to do that now. I mean, this past month alone was extremely profitable. You have a global audience. Please do it online. Okay. So when we released our cryptocurrency trading and investing program, we have several issues with it, okay? If we do it in person, right, at a workshop, guys, it's a lot easier because it's our first, let's just say it's our first event, whether it's online or offline. If we do it offline, we can field the questions that the students are asking, the people are asking, and answer right there on the spot. And we can show people on their computers how to trade, how to buy and sell cryptocurrencies, and then we can be more confident that the people are actually doing it correctly before they go home, okay? We're debating whether or not to do a 3-day workshop like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday so that people don't have to miss a lot of work. They can fly in, do the workshop, and then go home. The advantage of doing it in person is that leonfood.com and I can make sure that it is done correctly, okay? Remember, we lost a ton of money not knowing what the hell we were doing, hitting the wrong buttons, buying when we were supposed to be selling, selling when we were supposed to be buying it, and putting in the wrong orders. We were being a bunch of dumbasses, okay? But we finally figured it out now, and we want to make sure that if we are going to charge people a tuition for it, we want to make sure that they actually do it correctly before they go home. That's the advantage of doing it offline at a conference room in a workshop. The disadvantage of doing it in live in a workshop is that we can only do it for like maybe 30, 40, 50 people at max, 50 people. We cannot do it for any higher than that, okay? Because, you know, me, leonfood.com, and a few assistants cannot cover a classroom that is bigger than 30 to 50 people, okay? So that's the disadvantage of it. So it's going to be limited seating only. If we decide to do it as a workshop, it's going to be limited seating. If we could do it as a webinar online, that opens it up to, we can do it for thousands of people around the world, like NACO KM suggests, okay? The downside to that is that we can't see what you're doing. So leonfood.com and I, we lost a lot of money trying to figure this stuff out, and we don't want someone to accidentally put in the wrong orders, right? There's going to be some, like, for example, there's some specialized orders that we are going to teach in the workshop, you know, some buy sweeps and sell sweeps and how to protect your trades and everything, how to calculate it. And we feel more comfortable doing that if we can see you do it live in person and make sure that you did it correctly. Because when we do the workshop, I'm going to buy and sell some cryptocurrencies as an example, and then Leon's going to do it, and then we're going to have the people in the workshop do it. If we do it online, there's no way for us to know that you are doing it correctly, and that is something that we are uncomfortable with. And At this moment, we don't know how to deal with that issue. So because of that, that's still a debate. It's still open in the air. Okay, we figured if we do it either way, it's going to be both, guys. If we do it as a offline workshop at a hotel, then we're going to have everybody fly in, do the workshop. We're going to record the entire event, and then we're going to take the video recordings of it, and post it onto a membership site so that the people that want to watch it in online, they can do it. There's just going to be a delay from the time we actually do the live workshop to the time that we do the online membership. Okay, so that's the only challenge with that, because when we do it live, we can see the mistakes that people are making. We can correct it right there, and then we can record that mistake and then put it online on the membership, and then other people from around the world can view it. Okay, and learn from it. So we want people to learn from our mistakes. We don't want people to make the same mistakes that we made and cost them a ton of money. Okay.
So you still haven't made a decision which way you're going to go?
Well, right now we're looking at some different hotel rooms. We're traders, guys, so we're not like technical people that know how to set up membership sites and websites. And it's a miracle, thanks to WordPress, we got a website up at cryptocurrency.market. But if it hadn't been for WordPress, we wouldn't have even gotten that up. Okay, so that's why you guys see me broadcast through YouTube a lot, because the platform is already there. We just come in and put in the content. So right now we're using WordPress as our site, and we are looking at some different hotels and to book the conference rooms for the live hands-on workshops. And we're looking at it in Atlanta, we're looking at it in Dallas, and in LA. The first one more than likely will be done in Dallas, simply because I travel a lot, and I know that it's easier for everyone to travel to come to Dallas than it is for people from the East Coast to travel to the West Coast. So Dallas is more centralized in the United States for people to come to it. Okay, and I know that there's people from Europe and other countries that want to attend it also. So it'd be easier if we do it in Atlanta for the people that want to come from Europe. And then it'll be easier for the people that come from Asia if we do it in LA, in Los Angeles. However, the first one has to be done somewhere. So, I mean, it's going to be advantageous for some people, and it's going to be disadvantageous for others. But at the moment, we are setting our sights on to do the live workshop. If we decide 100% that we're going to do the live workshop, we're going to do it in Dallas. More than likely, it'll be in Dallas, just so that it's easier for people to come to it.
And when?
Oh, and when? We are looking at some October dates right now, and it will depend upon how many people we have interested in it, and then in the workshop, and how many where we can get a hotel conference room. So if you guys are interested in attending the live 3-day workshop, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you guys have an interest in it, right, let me know. Shoot me an email at tai at cryptocurrency.market. Okay, and in that way, I'll reach out to you and see if you have an interest. If you don't have an interest, please do not email me. Okay, so that way, leonfood.com and I have an idea of what it is, how many people are interested, so we can decide whether to do it offline or online. Either way, if we do our plan is that if we do the workshop live first, then after we record it, we're going to put it online and make it available to everyone in the membership area, right? If we do a live webinar first and record that, we'll make it available in the membership site, and within like 3 to 4 or 5 months, we are going to have a live workshop anyway. Okay, so either way, both of it is going to get done live and online. It's just a matter of which one we're going to do first and which one's easier for us to get done quicker and faster, right? There's so many opportunities to make money in the cryptocurrency market that we want to make sure that we get it out to you as quick as we can, okay? Hey, Vicious Dad says that we should do it in San Diego. Man, I swear that is the best city to live in America. Vicious Dad, right? Hey, if the only reason why I would have the first workshop in Dallas, so it's easier for everyone to get here, It only takes the maximum of 3.5 hours for anyone in the U.S. to get to Dallas. And the infrastructure, the roads, the hotels, the taxi cabs, the Uber rides and everything, the infrastructure is so much easier in Dallas than in LAX or in Atlanta. Okay, well, Atlanta is about equal to Dallas, but LAX is probably the absolute worst when it comes to the infrastructure to get around. Now, San Diego, the infrastructure there is a little bit tough too because of the traffic and stuff. But man, San Diego is such a beautiful city. It really sucks for the people that don't live in San Diego, in my opinion. You know, so let me see. I'll talk about Zcash, Dash, and Monero in separate videos, guys. I know everybody's asking about it. Considering Plebis wants to know when is the next move in Bitcoin. Nobody knows. It just happened yesterday. I'll do a separate video on the Bitcoin price prediction later, guys. Let me see. Poloniex, Nick Sal wants to know what's up with Poloniex. I mean, we don't have a choice, man. I mean, they're the biggest high volume cryptocurrency exchange out there. So whether we like it or not, we still got to trade through them. So that's, I mean, I think some of the stuff they do on there is really fishy. I think that they are churning the accounts, meaning that they're making trades because it doesn't cost them anything. They're making trades to pump the market, and they rotate it. And one day they'll pump up Ether Classic, and the next day they'll pump up Factum, and the next day they'll pump up Scenario or something, or Lisk, or So I believe that they're doing that in the background. Based on the effects that I see in the markets, I have no solid evidence to call them out on it, but I'm going to call them out anyways, okay? Because I think that it's a bunch of BS, okay? Do you believe that Waves will be $3 till the end of the year? Adam Zerzansky asked. I believe that Waves will reach $3, but not by the end of the year, because they need time to build their software technology, okay? They haven't had the time to build software yet, okay? Like I said before, guys, we give money to projects such as Lisk and Waves. We got to give them time to build the software, guys. If you remember when Ethereum, we gave money to Ethereum back in July of 2014, and we did not see any price increase until like January this year. So that's like a, what, 20 months? Like a year and a half? Okay, something like that. It's over a year, guys. We got to give these, there's no way that we can give, if you start a software project, there's no way that we can give you $16 million for Waves and then you go and build the software in a couple of weeks, guys. That's impossible, okay? Same thing with Lisk. All these software projects, okay? So do I believe that it'll go up to $3? I believe so. That's why I put money into it. Do I believe that it's going to go up to $3 at the end of this year? Probably not. The probability is not there because the software is not where it needs to be yet. Let me see. How about SuperNet? Any correlation with Nex or order price? I'll do a separate video on that. Okay. Should I look into Nexus by Paul? I'll look into that. Okay. All right. Okay, this is a good question here. Crypto Giraffe says that, hey, what is the tuition cost for the workshop? It's going to be anywhere, depending upon the expenses that we have to lay out, guys, because we have to put up the money first to rent the hotels, the conference rooms. We have to pay for the catering and all that. None of that is cheap, but we are working on that right now. The range is going to be somewhere around $5,000, guys. If you're going to be doing the live workshop, okay? So we are purposely doing that to keep it so that it's small, it's private, it's intimate, because we want to have time to work with everyone. We just don't want to just churn and burn and just spit out some content and you guys go back home. We actually want to make sure that we spend enough time to set up the security, your wallets, your Trezor hard wallets, and everything, and set up your computers correctly, security. There's a bunch of security. The first day alone will be just on security. and an introduction, and and we're going to make a lot of trades in the workshop just to make sure that you do it correctly. More than likely, we're probably going to make a ton of trades.
So how many Bitcoins do they need going in to make sure that they can trade with that?
Yeah, just so you guys, that's a good question. Just so you guys know, guys, the live workshop is not for small-time traders or investors. It's on purpose for people that have, I would say that you would have to have, let me see, you would have to have like probably 50 or 100 Bitcoins or more, guys, to make it worth your time to come to the live workshop. If you don't have at least that much, it's probably not worth your time. You either have to have, let me see, 50 times 600, that's $30,000. Yeah, you would have to have enough Bitcoins, guys. Before you email me, make sure that you have at least 50 or more Bitcoins before you even consider attending the workshop. The workshop is not meant for people who have 1 or 2 Bitcoins, guys. Wait until we have that the video recorded. The purpose of this workshop, guys, is mainly so that we can teach the class and record the workshop and put it on video. So we have the content on video, so we can see the students making the mistakes. We record those mistakes on video, correct the mistakes, record that on video, and then have it available on our membership once we have that set up. Okay. So let me see. Okay. Now, you know what? That's a good idea. Crypto Giraffe suggests that we crowdfund the workshop so that we don't have to pay for it up front. So that is actually a good idea. And we actually thought about that, doing like a crowd sale to pay for the workshop, and then we record everything that we teach at the workshop and then provide it to the people who invest in the crowd fund, right? That is actually a good idea, Crypto. We thought about it once and we didn't know about how it would go because most people are so used to doing crowd sales in the cryptocurrency world on the ICOs that we don't have any idea how the crowd sale will go. Maybe we should test it and see and see, because initially it's going to cost quite a bit for us to put up our personal money to actually pay for the hotels and the catering. Believe it or not, the catering is what actually costs the most money because they won't allow people to bring food into the hotel. You have to pay for the food at the hotel. You have to buy it from the hotel. They won't allow you to bring your own food in there, because if they did, then it would be a lot easier. And the reason why we're doing it at a hotel is so that it's a lot easier for people to come in to the hotel, stay at the hotel, come downstairs to the conference room, do the workshop, and then go back. We're looking at several different hotels around the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, so it's easy. They have some the DART rail at the airport, so because of that, we are looking at hotels that are possibly near the DART rail, so that people can just get off the plane, jump on the DART rail, and go straight to the hotel, and then when they go back to the airport, they can just use that. What's up?
Being at Dallas, at the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, there's not going to be a lot of opportunity for rock and roll because it's kind of distant. So the people that are coming to this conference, get ready to work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's not going to be a rock and roll thing.
So the doctor brought up a good point. He said that he suggests that the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport is better. Not only is it more centralized for everyone, but it makes it easier because the purpose of this is to come and learn how to make money in the cryptocurrency market. It's not here for a vacation. It's not here to party. So one of the things that LeonFood.com and I wanted is to make sure people get the most bang for the buck and the most value coming to the workshop. So that's why we, on purpose, was trying to avoid the West Coast, because we know that if people come to Los Angeles or to especially San Diego, they're going to party like a rock star. and come to class drunk and everything. and we don't want, yeah, if they do show up. So no, the doctor is not my driver. The Indian driver is not smart enough to be a doctor. Okay. So
Please.
Yeah, the doctor is smart enough to be a doctor, but the Indian driver is not smart enough to be a doctor. Okay. Yes, I'm going to do another video interview with Sasha here coming up. I just need to get in touch with him to work out a schedule, right? Okay. All right, guys. That's all I have. You got any last pointers we need to cover, Doc? Okay.
No, I think it's pretty exhaustive.
Yeah, I think I'm exhausted, guys. I just meant to start this.
No, you're not exhausted, but the topic is exhaustive.
Yeah, the topic is okay. That's enough for the 5 reasons why the world desperately needs Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, guys. Right? And that is, did you take my notes? Yeah, and that is to for settlement and clearing purposes on Wall Street, right? For record keeping, for the remittance market, for people to send money back to their countries. And the 4th reason is to access, it gives people in third world countries equal access to the trading world. And the last reason is that it gives people the ability to be a Main Street venture capitalist, okay? So that's all I have for today, guys. Thanks for joining me on this broadcast. Thanks for watching this video. I also want to say thanks, guys, to everyone for subscribing to my channel. I never thought that it would get this big. LeonFood.com and I were just broadcasting to help our friends and family, and we never thought that we would surpass 4,000 subscribers. Okay, that's absolutely amazing, and we just want to thank all the you subscribers for following us and giving us support. Okay, what else?
Thank you, and you're grateful.
Oh, I am extremely grateful. I am extremely grateful.
The magic word.
Yeah, I am extremely grateful to be making money in cryptocurrencies, guys. I am extremely grateful to be helping other people make money, and I'm grateful that you know you guys are following us on Twitter, on the YouTube channel, and we'll be really grateful and really look forward to working with you guys at the live workshop whenever we get it set up, guys. All right. So thanks for watching this video, guys. If you guys have any friends, family, or coworkers or colleagues that are interested in investing in cryptocurrencies, or they're not sure why you're bullish and you believe in cryptocurrencies, make sure you share this video with them, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys in a future video. And this will conclude our live broadcast here, guys.